Hey, my name is Jobby, and we're talking about the BingoToys BT-02 Windgirl, a third-party version of the character Windblade from the Transformers IDW comics. Who the frick is that? But this particular figure was very interesting to me. It's gonna be a long November. But no one has to know your internet activity. With Surfshark VPN, the sponsor of this video, browsing the web with a virtual private network allows you to browse with the knowledge that all of your important stuff is private, secure, and protected. Like your emails, your passwords, your violation of the rule of the month. And browsing without a VPN is like having no pants. Oh no. But Surfshark does way more than cover these nuts. You can virtually travel the world by changing your IP address. You have a choice of over 3,200 servers in over 95 countries. Use that to get better deals online. Some stores change their prices depending on where you're shopping from. There's an article in the description about price discrimination that you should check out. Or you could use Surfshark to watch region-locked content on HBO Max, my personal favorite streaming site. Besides the other one. If you're in one of the many countries that don't have HBO Max yet, just switch your location to a nice Christian nation and there you go. Surfshark VPN also includes Surfshark Alert, letting you know when your sensitive information's been compromised in any way. It's available to download on iOS, Android, Mac, Windows, Linux, just about everything. So check the link in the description and use my code JOBBY to get 85% off and 3 extra months free. But if you'd rather have everyone know that you lost, there's a 30-day money back guarantee. This figure's a bit strange when you consider BingoToys' previous release, Waveman, that Bumblebee Shockwave figure I took a look at. So out of nowhere, BingoToys decided to be a sexy robot provider, and I do not mind. Their next figure after this release is actually... As for Windgirl, unwrap the figure like I unwrapped my ex-wife. And the painting and the sculpting on this figure is amazing. The paint job's got a really nice finish, surprisingly flat. And I'm definitely not talking about... I was actually expecting the metallic red parts on the figure to be a lot more glossier than they are. But I do like this semi-gloss finish. However, I do have concerns about paint chipping. Paint that looks this good tends to... No! Let's just say don't let this figure fall flat on her face, which is easier said than done. Bit tricky to get her standing up, but that gives us the chance to look at the finer details, which includes great mechanical sculpting and some decals that make her look like a man-made character. Not accurate for a Transformer. Kinda reminds me of what they did with the Kang Toys Predacons. Anyone remember that? Because I don't. As much as I liked her simple color scheme, I would have preferred a bit more red in the chest area. Totally not an excuse to talk more about her chest. I understand what BingoToys were going for. They wanted to make the torso look as skimpy as possible. Horny bastards. But I really think that her Windgirls could have benefited from more red. Something like that. You can always pick. Shut up. My favorite bit of detailing here has gotta be her ass. Her head. The metallic blue and green really make this head sculpt come together. And at the risk of sounding incredibly lonely, very pretty. Love that cheeky grin. Full of attitude and spunk. No, I'm not saying she's full of cum. She's full of personality. Even with the geisha face paint, this figure looks way less like a clown than MP51. Only real problem I have with the head, this beautiful bow at the back, pops off way too damn easy. Bit of super glue to thicken up that peg should do the trick. Or if you want to be a bit safer, some clear nail polish. Time to rob your mom. I just don't want to straight up glue the bow into the head. Never know when I'll need access to that screw. Luckily, this isn't one of those figures where you have to unscrew the head in order to remove the face. In addition to her default smirk, you get a face with gritted teeth, an open mouth smile, and a yelling face, which I'm sure no one will get horny to. Don't do it. Let's talk about something a little less attractive. Nah, that's still pretty hot. I don't mind the back kibble here. Helps that a backpack is part of the standard Windblade design. If anything, she needs even bigger wings. But the way they're designed here makes it look like a giant bow, doesn't it? I guess that adds to the geisha look. But what's a Windblade without some blades? All 6 of her swords can plug right into her ass, right into her wings, and this giant bow just got some ribbons. Really dangerous ribbons. A beautiful example of weapon storage, but of course she can also wield her weapons. You just gotta switch out this pair of fists for a pair of grabby hands, and the swords just slide in. A good fit too, but I already knew Windblade had that gorilla grip. In addition to those grabby hands, you get one, what can we call this hand position? And why do we only get one? I'll call it the gabagool. Ay, pizza with the spaghetti. Mushroom Kingdom, Here we go. You get one normal open hand, and you get a pair of heart-making hands. Really hammers home the Japanese aesthetic. However, if you split the hands apart, her included base also splits apart, but I prefer it put together. Really nice color here. It's like a clear, hot pink. Energon pink is a good way to describe it. And very sturdy plastic as well. I can't exactly say the same about the two stand arms. It's not that they're delicate, I just think this peg is way too thin. Don't really trust how tight the fit is here. The stand is adjustable. It's just weird that this part is so short. This doesn't really help the figure stand since you gotta plug it right above her. Once again, I don't trust that peg for a second. Also, look how short the stand is. I assume that's why you get this piece here. Plug that into one of the stand arms and plug that into the other stand arm. Sure, you get more length, but I trust the stand even less now. Oh my god. Oh my god. Why is everything so tight and thin? Why couldn't you just be normal? I guess that works. Or you could just use any other stand not included with the figure. It's a shame because I really like the look of the stand. If only it weren't retarded. It's not like the stand's completely necessary to stand her up. Then why don't we finally talk about this? Even though this is a straight up dumpy, the figure overall isn't annoyingly horny. Does that make sense? While there's undeniable intentional sex appeal, no other reason why a robot needs a belly button or a vagina, she still manages to look actually attractive and not like a try-hard abomination. Reminds me of the big Firebird Nice in a lot of ways. But I would have wanted a better butt. Looks less like an ass and more like an actual tail. I still would. I suppose the perfectly sculpted posterior of my dreams is for another time and figure. I'll show it for 1 second because I might get demonetized. Unlike her incomplete rumpus, the figure itself is nice and tight. No ratchet joints anywhere, which is completely fine for a figure of this scale. Some of the joints do sound painfully squeaky though, but I'm sure that the more I play with her, the looser she'll get. Which I'll do right now. When we talk about the posability. Ball joint at the head. Every ball joint can be a swivel. Looks up that far and looks down that far. Rotation at the shoulder. You can move the wings out of the way to get more rotation. Bit hard to get a full 360. The wings can flap and there's a hinge joint here, here, and here. But it's unfortunately a bit loose. Loose is part of the figure, which is weird because I'm sure these struts are made of die-cast metal. Actually, a few spots made of metal as far as I can tell. That's just the tiny bit of weight for such a light-looking figure. Anyway, we're talking about the posability. Right? The back kibble can fold all the way up. It unpegs the head, more for the transformation, of course, but it also leaves a lot more room for the ball joint at the chest. Don't like how noisy that is. Any ball joint can be a swivel, but I don't want to force it. Last time I did that, arcing back, ab crunch, side to side, ball joint at the side skirts, rotation at the hips, a mid-thigh hinge joint, which of course allows for some sassy poses, a beautiful spread, nice swivel, bend at the knee, hinge joint, calf joint, which is not supposed to be a joint at all, just wish it pegged in better. Ankle moves down and up, ankle swivel, the heel is on a hinge joint, and the ankle right here is also on a swivel. Work at that and you can get a beautiful ankle pivot. While the figure is fun to handle and features a lot of joints, he's not as posable as I would like her to be. Weird that even after all this time, the standard for articulation is still an Optimus Prime figure. How could Optus Pexus do a better sexy pose than this? But still, you can definitely get creative and get some dynamic displays. But can she do one of these? Not quite. Posability's garbage. Size comparison time. Here's Figma Modic Economy, SH Monster Arts Godzilla, Transform Element OP Leader, my previous review, the 01 Studio Cell, anime version, and the Big Firebird Nice. Robot mode's pretty cool, but let's see if the transformation is any good. But in order to do that, we need a set of instructions. This figure doesn't come with instructions. I'm a bit mixed about this new trend of QR codes that link you to video instructions, specifically by Mang Motion for some reason. The set of physical instructions gives you that nice and intimate feeling, if that makes sense. Nothing beats spending 2 hours craning your neck over a piece of paper on a desk and... Alright, video instructions are pretty good, actually. Also makes my transformation sequence redundant, but who cares? You have the option of deploying the landing gear, but I recommend you get her in the air instead. The only time the pink base is useful. I still don't trust that peg though. After a transformation that some may find too simple, the jet mode is weirdly good. I'm definitely not in love with it, and the transformation is admittedly underwhelming, but at least it's passable as a jet mode. At least from the top. Once you look at the side and the bottom, kinda getting movie Starscream flashbacks. But who knows? Maybe all Cybertronian jets have a pair of tits. That's the thing about Cybertronian modes, right? You could pretty much do anything and claim it's finished. But as far as excuse modes go, this is far from the worst. I think the integration of the weapons really ties it all together. And according to those video instructions, which was super helpful and really well made, good shit, Mang Motion, there's a variety of ways you can attach the blades. But I prefer this fairly basic configuration. Just watch out when connecting the small swords way too tight. And sure, it's great that you have options, but I really dislike it when the overall mode is up to interpretation. Let me explain. The majority of this figure doesn't lock into place in any way, such as the legs. They're not locked into this position. I just had to pose it this way. Look at this. I much prefer when an alternate mode feels like it's an intentional design choice. No reason for the arms to still be poseable. Could have made more of the body lock into the arms to keep them in place. The legs could have plugged in together to make it feel more complete. At least the tits fit snugly underneath the cockpit, which opens, by the way. That's pretty cool. Also, the head's still poseable. Yippee. All I'm saying is that this jet mode really hinges on the robot mode joints being solid, because if they weren't, this thing would fall apart like Split. Even though I don't like it conceptually, in execution, not bad at all. I wonder if there's some people out there who feel the same way as me though. Leave a comment if you agree, or to call me a bitch. Size comparison again. Here's Modica Godzilla Prime and Nice, which is the superior sexy old mode. If you're gonna pick this figure up, it will definitely be for the robot mode, which is great.
Daddy, why not just get the same toys?
Shut up. It's always nice to have the option of transformation. Just wish the transformation was more satisfying. But in the end, it's serviceable. Or maybe I just like it because the jet has a pussy. I lost before I filmed the video. Good thing I'm not participating this year, because this girl made me bust.